Hello again, America. It is I, Ted, here on Channel 6, all 6, all the time. My esteemed guest today is Jake Steele.
Hello, Ted.
Nice to have you back on the program.
Great
Jake,
to be here.
Yes, Jake is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. He is a local economics expert, and he is a Kids' Choice Award nominee. Great to have you, Jake.
Great to be here.
All right, so Jake, tonight's program is going to be all about investing in Africa. Is it good? Let's take a look at a clip real quick, shall we?
Of course. In today's episode pertaining to African investment, our attention is going to be directed towards a largely sized Eastern African nation known as Tanzania. With a population of approximately 45 million, as well as an area of 945,203 kilometers squared, the large nation contains widespread land with a low population density throughout the tropical climate of Tanzania. Overall, Tanzania does not have significantly varying temperatures, with it being between 70 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit throughout most of the year. Combined with the climate, the Eastern African nation contains various game reserves and national parks that account for one-fourth of Tanzania's property. Thus, tourism accounts for a large percentage of Tanzania's economy, with the other main factors coming from agriculture and industry, who produce numerous natural resources which Tanzania has to offer. However, the country is not doing so well. As compared to the $1.73 trillion is Africa's GDP, Tanzania has only the 14th highest GDP in Africa with $23.06 billion. Not to mention that the country has solely relied on other nations such as Europe and the United States for money, which has resulted in a gargantuan national debt of $7.9 billion. Tanzania has a weak flow of money and goods in the farm sector, which unfortunately contains 80% of workers in Tanzania, revealing many citizens do not get a fair bargain with their crops. The prominence of AIDS and malaria continue to endanger the lives of citizens and cause a lack of workers and stability in the community as a result of Tanzania not having a stable economy to provide health care. So, why is Tanzania continuing to struggle? If it has good and bad qualities, is it still possible for Tanzania to break out and be successful? What can Tanzania do to rise to the top of Africa?
All right, so we've seen the clip. Let me ask you now, Jake. Would you invest in Tanzania right now?
I most certainly would.
But with an unstable cash flow in the agricultural field, a bad gross domestic product, poor infrastructure, and a presence of disease, why?
I'll tell you in 2 words. Mount Kilimanjaro. As the highest mountain on the continent, Kilimanjaro is an extraordinary sight to see for world citizens. In addition to that, dozens of other national parks and game reserves account for one-fourth of Tanzania's land. All of these attractions are under the category of tourism, which is responsible for generating an approximate $1.7 billion in revenue for Tanzania each year. In fact, according to New York Times, Tanzania in the year 2012 is 7th out of 45 places that are a top destination to visit around the world.
If tourism plays such a prominent role in Tanzania, why does this Eastern African nation continue to suffer economically?
Well, other than the fact that Tanzania is very donor dependent from the United States, Europe, and the World Bank, it is primarily because of its infrastructure. I'm going to be honest here. Tanzania has absolutely terrible roads. I recently took a trip down to Tanzania, and I want to show you what driving down there is like. Can we play the clip?
Yes, we can. That looks a little difficult to navigate.
Oh, yes it does.
Oh, yes it does.
Yes, no question.
No question.
But unfortunately, that is also why Tanzania loses millions of potential dollars. If people around the globe want to see what Tanzania has to offer, they need some kind of way to travel from the airport to the game reserves or its national parks, such as the one that hosts Kilimanjaro. If Tanzania has such poor infrastructure, tourist attractions will definitely have a slower rate of visitors annually, and admission revenue would be so much higher if this nation had an efficient and quick way of transporting people to and from these attractions. As one of the largest companies in Eastern Africa, Twiga Cement, a Tanzanian cement company, could easily pave and construct miles and miles worth of navigational roadways. If citizens were to invest in this company, the roads would be produced, and following the pattern, revenue in terms of tourism would increase and the economy would most certainly benefit.
That doesn't resolve the problems with diseases such as AIDS and malaria and the lack of stable cash flow in the farm sector.
Actually, it would help. If these tourist attractions became as successful as projected, hundreds of millions of extra dollars would be produced without the help of any other neighboring countries, such as Europe or the United States. This would be a result of Tanzania's own personal economic decisions. Thus, the Eastern African nation could slowly start to not need serious aid from other countries around the globe, signifying that the national debt of Tanzania would go down and greatly stabilizing the Tanzanian economy over time. With a monstrous 80% of employees in the farm district, the producers of multiple natural resources such as coffee, tea, cotton, cashews, cloves, you name it, they would all have the ability to be successfully exported with a profit. Extra revenue could be used to donate and contribute to simple taxes that prevent the spread of AIDS and malaria. This domino effect, per se, would obviously solve so many of the issues within the Tanzanian borders. Not to mention that the country has a history, or no history whatsoever, of civil war or genocide. The government structure within Tanzania is a stable, equal, democratic republic that has no history of Tanzanian rebellion. The literacy rate is 73% in Tanzania. The majority of the population is obviously intelligent and educated. With both the social and political conditions of the country, the extra revenue could most definitely be carried out properly. I'm going to end on this last point here. All of the qualities for a successful nation are within Tanzania. The barrel of dynamite, we could say, known as success, is ready to explode in this Eastern African nation. The only thing missing is something that could set off this explosion and allow Tanzania to become the future of Eastern Africa. And that one spark is investment. Tanzania has all of this potential as a buy low investment. But the only way all these actions can occur is to start with the investment of construction companies such as Twiga Cement, so they can begin the boosting of the tourism process and successfully turn the country around.
Jake Steele here this Sunday morning. Thank you for your time. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Thank you for having me.
Tanzania.